well, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Dr. Asanya, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, those of you that are watching. You are tuning in to Gretchel Dixon's Let's Chat. I have a beautiful person inside and out that I just admire so much. I met her a couple of years ago, and I've tried to stay connected. Sometimes when God connects you with people, sometimes it's just for a short time and sometimes for a lifetime. But in the meantime, while I'm figuring out how long this is going to be, I'm watching and enjoying the journey. So, welcome, Dr. Burke. For those that don't know you, share a little bit about who is Dr. Asanya.
So I am Dr. Ansonya Burke, and I am just an ordinary young lady. I love the Lord. I am the owner of Legacy Inner Shift Institute, and we are an organization that really help leaders to live whole. We come alongside of them and help them to work through some of those things. And we have actual therapists that are actually come in and help to do that. We have chaplains, we have fivefold ministry leaders. So these are people that are actually credentialed to be able to help you, but it's not necessarily therapy. It's probably more on the spiritual coaching, counseling side of the house. But they are people that have credentials that'll be able to help you to live and lead whole.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a mouthful. So, uh, April, I believe, is your birthday month.
Yes, April is my
So,
birthday month. Yes, ma'am.
so we are winding down your birthday month, and you always do something very special. For me, so far, your event you had a couple years ago, I believe, was the most amazing event I have ever experienced. It was an experience. It was truly uh, an experience for your guests. And thankfully, I was one of your guests that attended. It was beautiful. The food was great. The conversation, everything about it. I love it. So this year, and I remember you saying you always do something special for your birthday. So what did you do special? Because I didn't see an invite to go to anything to eat anything. So what did you do special this year?
So I did it low key this year because I'm turning 60 next year. And so I wanted to have this. I've never had a big party. So I'm going to do a leadership something experience next year on my birthday. And it's actually, save the date, April the 17th, 2027. It'll probably be here in San Antonio. And so I decided to just do my book. I actually launched a book called The Forgiveness Framework, which is very near and dear to my heart. It's a trauma-informed path for healing, freedom, and legacy. And it talks literally about my story. I've never wrote a book about my story, but it starts with my story and how God took me on a journey of forgiveness. And it was not the normal forgiveness that we think it is. So there's 9 steps or frameworks, which is what I call them, that helps you get and release all of that stuff that you are so holding inside to be able to live whole. So I'm excited about that. It's actually out, so you can find it on all platforms, Amazon. You can get it there, or you can contact me directly if you want a signed copy.
Oh, great. So how did this book come about? Because for me, the first book that I wrote came from prophecy because I didn't know that I was going to write a book. I kept getting prophetic words that they saw a book. So, and this is not your first book. So what was it that led to you writing this book? And especially with that title and all the nuggets that are inside it.
Well, interesting enough, my ex-husband got sick, and he asked me to come and take care of him. And at that time, I was on a wholeness journey myself. I had told the Lord that before I got into another relationship that I wanted to be whole in every area. Do not ask him for anything you're not ready for.
So that's true now.
Now, at the time, I didn't realize that part of my wholeness was I had to go back and take care of my ex-husband. So I was actually in therapy, and my therapist and I decided that this wasn't a good idea for me to go and do that. So I opted out. And me and the Lord wrestled because he says, no, you're going. And I'm saying, no, I'm not going. So we wrestled a little bit about that, and we talked about it. And I went back to my therapist and I said, ma'am, I got to go. And so she walked the journey with me. So it's a really a heart pull story where I take my journey through forgiveness. With he did pass last year. So it's our journey of forgiveness and my wholeness that I didn't realize at the time that I had to go back to be able to be whole and be able to reconcile with him before he left.
Wow, that's so powerful, because so many times, as you said, we wrestle with the Lord and we have options, but if we really love him and want to obey him and please him, we do those things in very uncomfortable places, because we know that he gave his life for us, which was horrible what he went through. So, like you said, be careful what you ask for, and when you say the yes, because for you, you're not just Dr. Burke, you are a minister of the gospel. And so when you are chosen and say yes to God in ministry, you don't know where the yes is going to go. It may be difficult, but it's going to be worth it in the end. Absolutely. And because you love him, just like we love individuals in the natural, like your spouse may ask you to cook something late at night or something sometimes, or something you don't want to do. But because you love that person, then you would do it. Because my husband is so funny, because I'm that person that loves excitement and doing stuff. And so over the years, it's pulled him out of his shell, because he's okay doing nothing, maybe fishing, but basically nothing. So because he loves me, he said yes to stuff, even in ministry, when it's time for me to move and do something God has for me to do. He'd rather be at home, but he goes with me. And so that's the same thing. We're supposed to have that same love for the Lord and relationship that, yes, God, I will do this. Because so many things he's told me to do is like, I don't know how. And sometimes in me, one of my famous questions I ask him is like, how's this supposed to happen? And he doesn't tell me. I just walk it out. Sometimes he'll say, do this, now do this, do this. It's kind of like instructing someone how to bake a cake or do something. It's a step-by-step process. So I'm very excited about that. So what else? I know you mentioned that you have the Legacy. I see you have the Legacy Inner Shift Institute. So, and I know you said it's for leaders. So give those that are listening in the replay a little insight about what that's about, because I've seen you say, okay, this is so many weeks and it's an intensive. So just share a little bit about what that is.
So there's two things happening. So the Legacy Inner Shift Institute is the business that I birthed. But out of that business, the Lord did share with me. He told me this a couple years ago, that he put out a 911 call and said that he wanted healed leaders. And that was right after COVID, when, all that was going on and people were committing suicide, and, people were, couples were breaking up and pastors were doing all these things. And so he had told me that he wanted healed leaders. So I said, I don't know what you want me to do with that. And so he began to walk it out. And so it has been my mandate that I do whatever I need to do to create spaces for leaders to be able to heal. These are for those high capacity leaders that are multidimensional, fivefold ministry leaders, educational leaders, church leaders, corporate leaders that don't want to go to therapy or don't want to feel like, there's something wrong. But all of us have unhealed things going on within us. We're all broken in some way. And we leaders tend to not take a step back and say, what is that I'm feeling? And what do I need to do with that? Because if you don't deal with it, it's going to come out somewhere else. So it'll come out in your relationship. It'll come out, how you're dealing with people. And I was one of those people. And so that's pretty much how that had come to pass. But he said, this year, I want you to get 600 leaders that are willing to invest in themselves with a $160 seed to be beta testers of my intensives. What is an intensive? An intensive is a space that is more of a small group where we build. I'm really good at creating spaces of trust. So the Lord had shown me a while back about how these intensives were going to be. You're going to create those same spaces that you do naturally for your leaders to be able to come in and be able to let their hair down, be able to talk and cry and, be vulnerable, because that's what it's all about. And you can do some inner work without going to therapy. So you can do the inner work with your little small groups. And the interesting part was he allowed me to experience that. I'm actually in a residency program right now for chaplaincy at a hospital. And our group, it was 8 of us, and it was our small group. And we actually had an opportunity to do, at that time, we didn't realize that it was an intensive, but the Lord showed me, this is what I'm talking about for you. And it was just a vulnerable space for all of these ministers and chaplains that we were able to come together and be vulnerable with one another and do some of the deep inner work that God was doing. And I always say it's like that hospital scalpel that the Lord just begins to cut, and in those places that you need to be cut so he could heal and provide some of that salve to be able to heal those places that are still broken. And man, when I tell you, it is powerful to be in that space and not have to worry that when you go outside of those 4 walls that anybody is going to hear or see anything that has happened. And so within that 600 people, they will seed $160, and they will, there's 6 intensives that they'll be able to experience. They're all different levels of them from the framework of my book. There's 9 of them. You'll get 6 of them to experience them, and you can do that virtually. And if there's anyone in any state that wants me to come to them, you'll have access to that one too. So you'll definitely have 6 of those, and then you'll be able to go to any other places. I do have, I'm looking to have one in Arizona, Georgia. I've had somebody reach out and wants me to come to Georgia. Already, of course, Arizona is my hometown, so I'm going there. So I'm excited about that. So anyone can have me to come and create this intensive space for them. And they can do the inner work. And the goal is that you become healed. So when you're leading your people, they'll be healed leaders too.
Wow, that's good. So 600 people. So this is going to be done via Zoom?
Yes.
So how are you going to break that up into so many in each class, or 600 people at one time on Zoom?
So it just depends, because they're not going to all be large classes. So it just depends on who actually, at the time that they actually sign up, and how that's going to be. There'll be 6 simultaneous of those coming that will rotate. And so you won't, unless there's a group that forms that they really like to be in that group, then we'll keep those groups together. But they'll literally come in and experience the intensives. And because it's a beta test, we want you to give input on what wasn't well, what didn't work well, how can we change that? because next year when we go live in April with the real ones, those classes will be $397 a piece. So you're getting a bargain to be able to come in and beta test them.
Oh, okay, okay. So if someone wants to sign up for the sessions and they pay their $160, how much time? If is it 2 hours, 1 hour? How for each
So
session?
they're 3 hours. Mm-hmm.
So
The
3 hours.
they're 3 hours. Of course, you'll get a break in there, but they're 3 hours on video. There's a break in there because you're doing some group work while you're there.
Oh, okay, okay.
It will be in spaces where you'll be able to break off into your groups
Mm-hmm.
and do the work. But it's inner work. It's not where you're going to come and just listen. You're literally going to do some work. We're not going to, make you talk if you don't want to, but the work is there for you to do. So the goal is for you to come out of that not the same and knowing a lot more about yourself and how some of those things that you're dealing with that you're not talking about and how they're affecting your leadership abilities.
Wow, that is very good. Now, what day of the week? Is that a Saturday? What are you planning? What are your plans right now for the
So
first?
right now there aren't any plans because they're going to be all over. So there'll be some on Saturdays, some in the evenings throughout the week. So there's 6 and we have a year to do them. So they're gonna cycle 2 or 3 times. And it just depends on what fits your schedule. So you'll have an opportunity to 2 or 3 times to be able to decide how you're going to make all 6.
Oh, that is very, very good. I like that. Yeah, and when you said the break off, it reminded me of I have a trauma healing certification that, like so many things, I haven't done anything with in a while. And when I was going through the training, it was like you said, it was intense. I believe it was 5 or 6 hours a day for 5 days. And we had to have our computer screen on. We couldn't have the pictures and stuff up there.
Right.
We had to be live because they want to make sure that we were engaged and participating. And then by being on the Zoom, it broke us into groups. It would send us to the rooms and we went in groups to work on whatever the discussion point was. And then we had to come back and then Zoom zapped us back into like Dream of Genie when the magic show zapped us back into the main room, and we had a spokesperson if necessary to share whatever the project we were working on, and it was probably 6 weeks. So yeah, that's exciting on what you're doing.
Yeah, it is exciting.
So that's for any leader or
Yes.
want to be leader, or can anybody join if they're not leaders?
Yes, anyone can join. My mandate is leaders, but that doesn't mean that anybody that wants to. I always say aspiring leaders, if you have leadership potential, or if you don't want to go to therapy, but you want to do some internal work, this is for you. Again, this is not a place that you're going to be doing a lot of chit-chatting and connecting with people. You're really going to be doing some intense work, as you said, with your focus one. So it's exciting. I've seen it work in real action, and it's a phenomenal. I just think it's a phenomenal journey for someone that really wants to start working on themselves and be able to have a better culture. At their, church, at their, their team that they're on, even, in the military, because my daughter's in the military, so, I had to add that. And then educational facilities. But just if you want to learn how to lead well, this is for you.
And see, leading, I saw what I didn't hear you say was leading well in my home, because there's so many, we have broken homes, and some of us, there's not a handbook for really your children because each personality is different, or marriage, or if you're single or one of your, whatever your life classification as such is. So it's not just for the church, but that's a way we can do inner healing and work on us so we can be that better person even in our homes. So that's what I love what you said.
Yes, ma'am. And definitely in your homes, but also in your relationships. One of the things that I'm going to be doing, and I'm excited about that, is if you wanted to do this with your girlfriends and you guys wanted to go deeper within your relationship, or there are some things that you guys just want to grow deeper together, we can do girls trips. We can all come together at a retreat and we can do this kind of stuff. And so I just think it's just a phenomenal way for you. I remember I used to do retreats a long time ago, and they were pretty popular. And one of the things that the pastor at that time told me, he said he used to love the retreats because the women would come back different to their husbands. And so their husband says, we're going to be sending them every year because you come back changed. And that's what you want. Like, you're going to, you don't have to spend a lot of money here, but you're going to be getting good stuff, because next year people are going to be paying $300, $400 for the same stuff, same classes, same inner work. And you're getting all 6 for $160. And where am I getting the 60? The 160, because I'll be 60 next year, and all you're going to see this year is 6s.
Well, that's great. That's great. And I was thinking when you said to do a retreat, because I've been wanting to do one for so long, just thought I've got to stop with the P word, procrastinating. So if this is 6 weeks intensive, 3 hours is 18 hours. How do you condense that if it's a retreat? If the retreat is without making it all therapy, but I have some downtime, some relaxation, that I'm just like feel like I'm in class all the time. So at a retreat, how long is it? Like how many hours? Like if you do a retreat, because if you're doing it right now, you're doing it 6 weeks, and that's just you're just there a couple of days. So how do you condense that so that people will get maybe not the full effect, but a great start, or even maybe they don't need 6 weeks. So what happens at the retreats?
It's a great question. So depending on, the intensives are actually catered to you and what your theme is. So depending on what your theme, I was talking to another girlfriend of mine that wants to have me come and do one on wholeness. And so depending on how much time she gives me at hers, I will create an intensive that is specifically based off of her theme, and I would go in there. Now, I would say it can't be any shorter than 2 hours, but that space right there would give you a lot of time to be able to dig some things, and then you'll take homework home.
Okay, so if I want to do a healing retreat, so would you break that up? Like I said, we start on Friday, so we're there Friday to Sunday. So are there spaces in there where they work on something? My group would work on something. Then you have some time away to journal and self-reflect, or
absolutely. So just so you know, to get the full effect. So the intensives, when they actually go live next year, they're actually a 2-day process. So it would either be a Friday and Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, or through the week, just depending on what you are having and how you do it. I cater it. You can either take some of the classes that are already boxed up and ready to go, or I can create it for you. And it would all depend on where the space is. You're as the leader of the retreat or the host, you would tell me what it is that you want me to talk about. We would have the conversations. What is it that you want your participants to leave with? And then I would create an intensive based off of that, along with the workbook, because you get a workbook, you get some declarations. So there's a whole thing that goes along with the intensive. And then part of it, what I've done in the past is I've had people do homework prior to coming. So then when we come, we have our little short, 1.5 to 2 hour session, and then they take the rest of it and do it on their downtime, or when they get back, and then they can journal that.
Oh, okay. So what's the ideal size to have something intimate on a retreat? Because one of my colleagues is a mental health professional that said the retreat for what she does shouldn't be any more than maybe 20 people. So, or smaller to keep
Mine
it
are
intimate.
smaller. I can do. I've done larger, but I would want it to be in an intimate space. Maybe 10 at the max. 12 would probably my breaking point,
Mhm.
um, because you want people to be in a space where they feel vulnerable. And when you have
Okay.
so many people, most people won't. Because I wouldn't.
See,
That's
see,
how I was.
that's what my friend who's in mental health,
Mhm.
that's what she shared with me as well, because you want it intimate and
Yes.
not that large. Well,
Hmm.
this is amazing. So what else do you have going? So what I'm looking at, it shows,
Well, I do
yeah,
have I do have and then it's kind of a shared um, experience of the book for June 13th here in San Antonio. We're going to be doing a book review with all of the stages, and then we're going to be sharing what the intensives look like. So that's a 4 hours. It's from 9 to 1. So we'll be talking a little bit about the forgiveness framework. We'll be breaking that down and part of it into the intensive. So you'll get to see the book and you'll also get to experience it. You'll take, I'll have a photo booths, all just some fun stuff for us to kind of hang out and just experience what the intensives and be able to get the book as well.
okay. So the one that you're having in June, what is the investment, and do you have a location that you can share?
Hmm. So the investment, there's going to be 4 different investments. If you just want the general, I believe it's 67 or 69 if I remember, and then it goes up to 297. So there's like 4, and it's going to be at the neighborhood place here in San Antonio, which is off of 410, right by the North Star Mall area, somewhere in there. The site will be up here shortly. I'm just actually promoting it here now,
Mhm.
and explaining. If you are on Facebook and you are connected to me, I have been sending out what an intensive is and really talking about some of the frameworks and what those are like, the words that you'll hear in these classes, so they become familiar to you and you know what they are. But yeah, so the site will be out probably by the end of the week, where you'll be able to join. If you have 10 or more people, if you want one of your teams to come, I invite that, and there's a discount with that.
Okay. So for those of us that's not from San Antonio, what type of place is that you said it's called the neighborhood?
It's called the Neighborhood Place. It's a community center.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
large
Okay.
community center that's called the Neighborhood Place.
Wow, that's cute. That's cute.
Mhm.
So anything else you want to share? Because I love everything that you're doing. You guys, Dr. And Sonia is so amazing. She shared, and I did a couple years ago a women's empowerment event, and I'm just soaking everything up, everything women, everything about mental health, trying to understand and learn that, because that's, as they would say, a buzzword, but it's a real thing that we need to, that to deal with. So, so what else do you have? Because I just enjoy what you do. You're so
No, I just
creative.
I try, and each event will be different, just because I like different, and me and creativity.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I, I want everyone to take away is that it's okay to invest in yourself. I think it's important now with everything that's happening, within with our the cultures and the atmospheres,
Mhm.
that the environments that we're in right now, they're a lot of toxicity. They're hot spaces, and just
Mhm.
being able to come and take care of yourself, get yourself regulated. I talk about the amygdala, which is your brain and how it processes emotions. And when that becomes overloaded, what that does for you, and how it's so important that you keep that under control. That's where the weight comes on. And we talk, and in the book, it's so many different tools and strategies that'll help you to become a better leader. And I just think it's so important that we invest in ourselves to be whole. We invest in everything else. If you want to be a better husband, a better wife, if you want to be a better leader, if you want to build a different culture, this is for you. If you don't deal with it, it's going to come out in a different way, and it's not that.
That's right. That's right. So before we close, how can people find you that want to connect with you?
Yes, ma'am. So you can go to my website. It's www.ansonyaburke.org. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn with Dr. Ansonya Burke. You can find me on TikTok with my name, Dr. Ansonya Burke, and then you can also find me on Instagram. I used to be called the Iconic Leader, so that's going to change, but that's what it is as we speak. You can also get me in my DMs on any of those platforms. I will respond. And then I just encourage all of you corporate leaders, any leaders of any place, contact me. I come in, I can do lunch and learns. I can do bring you all together into one space. We can do team building offsite. I'm here for you to help you build better environments and better cultures for your leaders.
Wow, this is exciting. I'm gonna go back and, like I said, myself and read and see what I can be a part of and check my calendar as well. Because learning, as long as you have breath, you're not too old, you still have time learning because the world is changing. The world is changing, and it's like almost changed like by seconds. So we definitely want to stay relevant, and we'll take care of ourselves. You know, we talk about taking care of our physical body, but what about our mental state? Because the mental state, because sometimes illnesses are because of what your mental state is, how important it is to be in the right space. And we see
the Bible says, "Be ye transformed by what? The renewing of your mind." Because that's where, as I call it, the inner shift happens. The transformation comes from you inside. Once it's changed inside, then it comes outside, and you're in a much better space. I encourage you all to check it out. Come see what it's all about. Grab some friends, share the story, and you all come together. Grab a group of friends and come and hang out with me for a few hours.
Wow, that sounds so good. And once again, share with those that are listening in the replay how they can connect with you or reach out to you if they have any questions.
Yes, ma'am. www.ansonyaburke.org. Dr. Ansonya Burke on Facebook and on LinkedIn. The Iconic Leader on Instagram, and then on TikTok, Dr. Ansonya Burke.
Wow. Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to share. I'm so excited. I'm excited for what you're doing now, and next year I have to get ready. Get ready to see.
Hey, save the date, y'all. April the 17th, 2027 is going down. It's going down.
Yeah, going down. Well, thank you again. And those that are listening, you guys have a good night. God bless you.